Fez is the third largest city of Morocco, with a population of 1.1 million. Fez was the capital of modern Morocco until 1925, and is now the capital of the Fès-Meknès administrative region. The city has two old Medina quarters, the larger of which is Fès el-Bali. It is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is believed to be one of the world's largest car-free urban areas. University of Al-Qarawiyyin, founded in 859, is the oldest continuously functioning madrasa in the world. The city has been called the Mecca of the West, and the Athens of Africa. History. Etymology. The word Fez means pickaxe in Arabic, which Idris I used when he created the lines of the city. One noticeable thing was that the pickaxe was made from silver and gold. After Fez got its official name, areas around Fez got their names based on this famous city. The Middle Atlas Mountains near the city is called the Fazes, and a small town west from Meknès is called Eight Fazes. During the Idrisid rule, Fez consisted of two cities or medinas. Fès el-Bali, founded by Idris I, and Al-Aliya, founded by his son, Idris II. During Idrisid rule, the capital city was known as Al-Aliya, with the name Fès being reserved for the separate site on the other side of the river. No Idrisid coins have been found with the name Fès, only Al-Aliya and Al-Aliya, Madinat Idris. It is not known whether the name Al-Aliya was ever referred to both medinas. It wasn't until 1070 that the two agglomerations were united and the name Fès was used for the site's foundation and the Idriids. The city was founded on a bank of the Jafar River by Idris I in 789, founder of the Zaydi Shiite Idrisid dynasty. His son, Idris II, built a settlement on the opposing river bank. These settlements would soon develop into two walled and largely autonomous sites, often in conflict with one another, Madinat Fès and Al-Aliya. In 808, Al-Aliya replaced Walili as the capital of the Idriids. Arab emigration to Fez, including 800 Andalusi families of Berber descent in 817 to 818 expelled after a rebellion against the Umayyads of Córdoba, and 2,000 Arab families banned from Kairouan after another rebellion in 824, gave the city a more Arabic character than others of the region. The Andalusians settled in what is called the Old Fez, while the Tunisians found their home in the New Fez, also called Al-Aliya. These two waves of immigrants would subsequently give their name to the sites, Adwat al-Andalus and Adwat al-Qarawiyyin. The majority of the population was of Arab descent, and the minority was of North African Berber descent, with rural Berbers from the surrounding countryside settling there throughout this early period, mainly in Madinat Fès and later in Fez Jdid. Upon the death of Idris II in 828, the dynasty's territory was divided among his sons. The eldest, Muhammad, received Fez. The newly fragmented Idrisid power would never again be reunified. During Yahya ibn Muhammad's rule in Fez, the Kairouan Mosque, one of the oldest and largest in Africa, was built and its associated Al-Qarawiyyin madrasa was founded. Comparatively little is known about Idrisid Fez, owing to the lack of comprehensive historical narratives, and that little has survived of the architecture and infrastructure of early Fez. The sources that mention Idrisid Fez describe a rather rural one, not having the cultural sophistication of the important cities of Al-Andalus and Ifriqiya. In the 10th century the city was contested by the Caliphate of Córdoba and the Fatimids of Tunisia, who ruled the city through a host of Zenata clients. The Fatimids took the city in 927 and expelled the Idrisids, after which the Minasa were installed there. The Minasa were driven out of Fez in 980 by the Mughrawa, their fellow Zenata, allies of the Caliphate of Córdoba. It was in this period that the great Andalusian ruler Al-Mansur ibn Abi Amir commissioned the Mughrawa to rebuild and refurnish the Al-Qarawiyyin Mosque, giving it much of its current appearance. According to the Rawd al-Qatas and other Marinadira sources, The Mughrawi emir Dunas al-Mughrawi filled up to the open spaces between the two medinas and the banks of the river, dividing them with new constructions. Thus, the two cities grew into each other, being now only separated by their walls and the river. His sons fortified the city to a great extent. This could not keep the Almoravid emir Ibn Tashfin from conquering it in 1070. After more than a decade of battling the Zenata warriors in the area and constant besieging of the city, in 1033, several thousand Jews were killed in the Fez massacre. Golden Age and the Marinid period. Madanat Efes and Al-Aliya were united in 1070 by the Almoravids. The walls dividing them were destroyed, bridges connecting them were built, and connecting walls were constructed that unified the medinas. Under Almoravid patronage, the largest expansion and renovation of the Al-Qayrawan Mosque took place. Although the capital was moved to Marrakesh and Tlemcen under the Almoravids, Fez acquired a reputation for Maliki legal scholarship and became an important center of trade. Almoravid impact on the city's structure was such that the second Almoravid ruler, Ibn Tashfin, is often considered to be the second founder of Fez. Like many Moroccan cities, Fez was greatly enlarged in the Almohad era and saw its previously dominating rural aspect lessen. This was accomplished partly by the settling there of Andalusians and the further improvement of the infrastructure. At the start of the 13th century they broke down the Idriside city walls and constructed new ones, which covered a much wider space. These Almohad walls exist to this day as the outline of Fez el-Bali. Under Almohad rule the city grew to become the largest in the world between 1170 and 1180, with an estimated 200,000 people living there. In 1250 Fez regained its capital status under the Marinid dynasty. In 1276, after a massacre by the population to kill all Jews that was stopped by intervention of the emir, they founded Fez Jdid, which they made their administrative and military center. Fez reached its golden age in the Marinid period, which marked the beginning of its official, historical narrative. It is from the Marinid period that Fez's reputation as an important intellectual center largely dates. They established the first madrasas in the city and country. The principal monuments in the Medina, the residences and public buildings, date from the Marinid period. The madrasas are a hallmark of Marinid architecture, with its striking blending of Andalusian and Almohad traditions. Between 1271 and 1357, 7 madrasas were built in Fez, the style of which has come to be typical of Fassi architecture. The Jewish quarter of Fez, the Mela, was built in 1438, near the royal residence in Fez Jdid. The Mela at first consisted of Jews from Fez el-Bali and soon saw the arrival of Berber Jews from the Atlas Range and Jewish immigrants from Al-Andalus. The Marinids spread the cult of Idrisi and encouraged Sharifism, financing Sharifian families as a way to legitimize their rule. From the 14th century onwards, hundreds of families throughout Morocco claimed descent from Idrisi, especially in Fez and the Rif Mountains. In this regard they can be seen as the enablers of the latter Sharifian dynasties of Morocco. A revolt in 1465 overthrew the last Marinid sultan. In 1474 the Marinids were replaced by their relatives of the Wattasid dynasty, who faithfully continued Marinid policies. Modern period. In the early modern age, the Ottoman Empire came close to Fez after the conquest of Ujda in the 16th century. In 1554, the Wattasid dynasty took Fez with the support of the Turks, and the city became a vassal of the Ottomans, who finally conquered it in 1579 under Sultan Murad III. The Ottoman power in North Africa focused on threats posed by Habsburg Spain and the Portuguese kingdom. As a result, Fez was not under pressure from the Ottoman rulers. The conquest of Fez was the catalyst for the move of the capital city of the Saadi dynasty to Marrakesh. Early in the 17th century the town returned to Moroccan control under Ahmed al-Mansur. After the fall of the Saadi dynasty, Fez was a major trading post of the Barbary coast of North Africa. Until the 19th century it was the only source of Fez hats. Then, manufacturing began in France and Turkey as well. Originally, the dye for the hats came from a berry that was grown outside the city, known as the Turkish kizilçik or Greek akinia. Fez was also the end of a north-south gold trading route from Timbuktu. Fez was a prime manufacturing location for embroidery and leather goods such as the adaga. The city became independent in 1790, under the leadership of Yazid and later of Abu Arabi Sulayman. In 1795 control of the city returned to Morocco. Fez took part in a rebellion in 1819–1821, led by Ibrahim ibn Yazid, as well as in the 1832 rebellion led by Muhammad ibn Tayyib. Following the implementation of the Treaty of Fez, the city was heavily damaged in the 1912 Fez riots. Fez was the capital of Morocco until 1925. Rabat remained the capital even when Morocco achieved independence in 1956. Despite its traditional character, there is a modern section, the Ville Nouvelle or New City. Today it is a bustling commercial center. The popularity of the Fez has increased since the King of Morocco took a computer engineer from Fez, Salma Benani, as his wife. Place Lala Yeduna at the heart of the Medina is currently undergoing reconstruction and preservation measures following a design competition, sponsored by the Millennium Challenge Corporation and the government of the Kingdom of Morocco. The construction projects scheduled for completion in 2016 encompass historic preservation of particular buildings, construction of new buildings that fit into the existing urban fabric and regeneration of the riverfront. The intention is to not only preserve the quality and characteristics of the UNESCO World Heritage Site, but to encourage the development of the area as a sustainable, mixed-use area for artisanal industries and local residents. Climate. Located by the Atlas Mountains, Fez has a Mediterranean climate with a strong continental influence, shifting from cold and rain in the winter to dry and hot days in the summer months between June and September. Rainfall can reach up to 600 mm per year. The winter highs typically reach only 15 degrees Celsius in December-January. The highest and lowest temperatures ever recorded in the city are 46.7 degrees Celsius and -8.2 degrees Celsius, respectively. Fez's climate is strongly similar to the one you find in Seville and Córdoba of Spain. Snowfall on average occurs once every 5 years. Subdivisions. The prefecture is divided administratively into the following main sites. Fez is becoming an increasingly popular tourist destination, and many non-Moroccans are now restoring traditional houses as second homes in the Fez, Medina. The most important monuments in the city are Bouanania Madrasa, Al-Attarine Madrasa, University of Al-Qaryoan, Zuhair Moli Idris II, Dar al-Magana, Abindan and Synagogue, University of Al-Qaryoan. The University of Al-Qaryoan or Al-Qarawiyyin is the oldest continually operating university in the world. The Al-Qaryoan Mosque was founded by Fatima al-Fihra in 859 with an associated school, or madrasa, which subsequently became one of the leading spiritual and educational centers of the historic Muslim world. It became a state university in 1963, and remains an important institution of learning today. Transport. The city is served by Ses Airport. It also has an ONCF train station with lines east to Oujda and west to Tanger and Casablanca. Sport. Fez has two football teams, Mas Fez and Wydad Fia Qutes. They both play in the Botol, the highest tier of the Moroccan football system, and play their home matches at the 45,000-seat Complexe Sportif de Fez Stadium. Notable residents: Fatima al-Fihra, Isaac al-Fazi, Talmudist Imposic, Muhammad XII of Granada, last Moorish king of Al-Andalus, Yazid of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1790 to 1792. Slimane of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1792 to 1822. Abd al-Rahman of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1822 to 1859. Muhammad IV of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1859 to 1873. Hassan I of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1873 to 1894. Abd al-Hafid of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1908 to 1912. Abdulaziz of Morocco, Sultan of Morocco from 1894 to 1908. Mohammed bin Arafat, Sultan of Morocco from 1953 to 1955. Muhammad V of Morocco, Sultan then King of Morocco. Ahmed Barnini, Prime Minister of Morocco from the 13th of November 1963 to the 7th of June 1965. Ali El-Fassi, politician. Ahmed Sefrioui, writer. Mohammed Karim Lamrani, Prime Minister of Morocco. Asdin Laraki, Prime Minister of Morocco from the 30th of September 1986 to the 11th of August 1992. Ahmed Laraki, Premier Minister of Morocco from the 7th of October 1969 to the 6th of August 1971. Ali Skmor Wali Husani, author of the words to the Moroccan national anthem. Kazda Merbar, Algerian politician. Fatma Mernissi, feminist writer and sociologist. Abdelwahab Dukhali, singer. Abdelashif Labi, writer and poet. Joel Santoni, French film director and screenwriter. Taha Ben Jelaun, writer and poet. Brahim Lalafi, athlete, long-distance runner. Tariq Sekshara, footballer. Princess Lala Salma of Morocco, Princess Consort of Morocco. Mohamed Benis, poet. Jamal Fakir, French international rugby league player. Adel Tarabat, footballer. Madame Guinaudo, French cookery and travel writer. International relations. Twin towns, sister cities. Fès is twinned with Montpellier, France, since 1961. Strasbourg, France, since 1961. Florence, Italy, since 1961. Kairouan, Tunisia, since 1965. Tlemcen, Algeria, since 1969. St. Louis, Senegal, since 1979. Córdoba, Andalusia, Spain, since 1982. Jerusalem, Palestine. Izmir, Turkey, since 1995. Bobo Dioulasso, Burkina Faso, since 2003. Suwon, South Korea, since 2003. Coimbra, Portugal. Lahore, Pakistan. Multan, Pakistan. Puebla, Mexico. Partnerships Kraków in Poland.